Hi. That's so funny. I just turned the camera on. I didn't realize the sun rays were on me again. You have to see where I am. I'm in Lake Tahoe. So Northern California, South Lake Tahoe. My friend has a place in her family. And so I guess I said that in my last video. It was just a singing one though. Not just. They're all here for different reasons. So just, I guess, go to what resonates with you. This is a teaching video, but I didn't set up where I can set my camera. I'm gonna sit against this giant tree. It just looked inviting. But look at all these pine cones. I was like, if I get hit in the head by a falling pine cone, then it just is what it is. But I don't have a lot of time. So let's get into this. Oh, there's a feather. Look, there's a tiny feather. Okay, I brought my water bottle in case I needed to use it to prop up my phone, but we've got so many pine cones, we could have done that. Okay, so it's funny because I think they say you get influenced by the 5 people you are around the most. 5 males and 5 females, or maybe it was just 5 people total. So, I mean, I naturally gravitate towards trying to hang out with, not hang out, but I read a lot. I read of Tolkien, and I used to read C.S. Lewis a lot. I have, I think, 2 whole bookshelves full of C.S. Lewis books. Just ground myself here on the ground. Look at how gorgeous, they call it a marsh. But I also read ancient books. I read books from as far back, classic books as far back as I can get them. But I also, you guys know, I rely on my intuition. It just sort of like downloads stuff. All right. So I think I'll just use my knees. Oh, sideways. I forgot to turn my camera sideways. Oh well. Yeah, see, and I want to be in the sun. Okay, so you guys know, if you've been following my videos, that when I pray, give us this day our daily bread, that I'm asking for the super substantial, whatever spiritual food I need for today, or physical or emotional. I haven't thought of the emotional or physical. That's weird that it's coming up. But yes, physical, like whatever needs to show up in my world, let it show up. And I always pray and ask that books show up that, that I'm meant to be reading. And so your outside reflects your inside reflects your outside. If you are like high vibing or whatever you call it, high consciousness, then you'll be more drawn to high consciousness books. But also high consciousness books can come to you and help you adjust. And it's weird. It's not by shoving knowledge, because I tried that for lots of years, and maybe that phase was an important part of my life. Many years I read all the time. Now I will just listen to the Lord of the Rings a lot, over and over again, and get a lot of information from that. But when I visited that monastery and the Athonite Greek Orthodox monastery, and immersed myself into that experience, because I felt my intuition was leading me to do so, and I had a physical email from an archbishop, they're called metropolitans in that religion, that suggested that I stay. If I ever make it to that monastery, to stay. Anyway, I'm not trying to be over religious, and I appreciate so much of all religions. But what one of the things they gave me was this book, Monastic Wisdom by Elder Joseph. And so I was just on, I literally just read a page so far today. Maybe it's 2, let's see. No, not even 2. But I just trust that it came to me for a reason today. Hi, I'm making a video. And so it says, oh, the cutest dog. Look at the dog. I'm gonna get it. Hopefully the dog got on. I don't want to get people unless I talk to them and stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so it says that this is the 10th letter in this. I'm just going to read a part of it. I'm sure it's online somewhere for free because I never want to take away someone's stuff, you know. But introduce us to it. Grace always precedes temptations as a warning to prepare. So hear this with your noetic mind, your essence self. Don't hear it as religious words, blah, blah, blah. Hear it with your inner being, if you can, and we'll apply it to life. Because, as always, you know, I'm still experiencing life and learning things and falling on my face and on my behind, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if there's kids around or whatever, but you know, it's just like falling and learning. And so when this came up, I just letting myself, let it sink in your deeper mind, your higher mind. Okay, grace always precedes temptations as a warning to prepare. Praxis is this Greek word, I think, about practice. When you're practicing out how you choose to live your life, it's called praxis, Praxis. They have theosis, theoria, and praxis, but I won't go into all of that right now. Praxis is not to try out and then retreat, but to enter the battle, duel, defeat and be defeated, win and lose, fall and rise, crush the gates everywhere, and to expect struggles and fights until one's last breath. In addition, one must never become overconfident before his soul leaves the body. But even when he is ascending into heaven, he must expect to descend into Hades at any moment. I would even say that the descent can occur at that very moment. So one should not be surprised at changes, but should be aware that both conditions are our own. They're our own, his or hers. Know that grace always precedes, it comes before temptations, as a warning to prepare. So grace is like this consolation, this overflooding of love that you feel, and you just feel so great, and you feel invincible, and you feel like in the oneness. That's what I was thinking of the Power of Now book, because that's not a book necessarily about a bunch of knowledge, but about how to shift into that presence, the present moment, and that present state that's accessible within all of us, that gives us access to God. God is always here, but we're not always aware, to divine love, to where Christ dwells. I got this sense yesterday in my meditation that he's like, I am in the silence. Go into the silence and you find me. Oh, pine cone just fell over that tree. I always want to find Christ. For me, Christ is the physical manifestation in a way of God, you know, the God-man, it's way too hard to put into words. Like, I don't want to minimize it or, you know, make it smaller than what he is. But to find him in the silence is to go back to a very powerful place that we all have within ourselves. And when you're going to act in life, why not act out of power and out of strength, out of purpose, out of truth? Of course, out of fun and silliness, and, you know, whimsy and all that other stuff, the other ways that, you know, I find to act out of joy, but out of the deepest sense of your being, not out of just my habits pulling me here and there, or my immediate wants, you know. I can want to go take a nap, and I get to tell my body, no, we're not going to listen to that desire right now. We're going to do this, you know? And it's an art. All of this is an art. This is like, I ought to change the name of my YouTube channel. Oh, that's funny, because one time I was like, I had to change it to how to love Cheryl, you know. But Cheryl, or Dr. Cheryl, or whatever I am, I represent you. So it's how to love yourself. But then just now, what was I thinking of changing it to? I ought to have said it first. Changing, oh, the art of living mindfully and not in your mind, the art of living, the art of integrating your spiritual self, your psychological self, your emotional self, your physical self. This is what I teach because this is what's being taught to me. Not because I set out to teach this, but because I trust the teaching that comes to me, because I ask for it, and I ask for it in earnestness, and I ask for it with seriousness, and I ask for it in expectation, knowing that they will give me. I don't know if you guys saw my video from a long time ago where I was taught as a child. One really good thing I was taught as a child was that I can always ask for wisdom and ask, and that's a good thing to ask. And so it's like, you know, all these other crap things I learned about what it is to be a good girl and let people walk on you in certain ways and learn. I mean, good, it's good training ground right now. I'm learning not to, but I did learn, they taught me a good thing was my father specifically taught me ask for wisdom, and that's what Solomon asked for, and Solomon got that. And so it was like, if we get to pick which family we incarnate in, you know, I was saying it would be worth all of the pain that I've been through, whatever, not to over-identify with the pain, to know that I ought to ask for wisdom and I can receive it. And so what I ask for, I give to you, because I was also just taught, I don't know where I was taught, but to have an open hand, to always give away what's been given to me. And have an open hand about your sins too, whatever you call sins. The word sin in Greek is hamartia, to miss the mark. So if we had, I would love it if I had bow and arrows right here, but if we had a target right over there on that tree, you know, and I'm shooting from over here, and I'm shooting with my bow and arrow, and someone's over to the side so I wouldn't get them, and they're like, hamartia, that's what I learned from someone, or bishon, that's in Aramaic. I learned it from Dale Allen Hoffman's, one of his audios. See, another good influence, you know, of teaching Aramaic. I don't know about all his other stuff, but it just says you miss the mark, go a little to the left, go a little to the right. And so when you are in humility and grace is given to you, like, imagine if a wave of this deep, I know that I sing so much, so many of my songs are about this deep loving presence that I know from spirit, from being connected to God. And then sometimes with other people I've shared that, and sometimes now with myself, within myself. But this grace is like this overwhelming, expansive love that you feel, and deep closeness like you can't even imagine, you know. And that's why I sing about it so much, because I love celebrating it and I know it. And like, you know, we'll share the shelter of my single bed, we'll share the same room, we'll jump rope by the bridge. Is this love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling? Just in that, it's in, if you ever get back to Hackensack, I'll be here for you. Or I want to run, I want to hide, I want to scale these city walls, deep something inside. I want to reach out and touch the something where the streets have no name. Where the streets have no name. I wanna feel sunlight on my face. I see the dust clouds disappear without a trace. That's the feeling. That's the, you fill up my senses. like a night in the forest, like a mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain. This is the feeling. This is the feeling. This is why I'm called to sing, even though I'm not the best singer or the best guitar player or anything. I know this feeling, and I know it deep in my being, and I love it. I love that feeling, and there's nothing wrong with me loving that feeling. It's a grace that's given to us, and we're called to that, a high sense of that, to cultivate that in our lives, not by stealing it, but by recognizing it and walking towards it and being in it. And that's where I find Christ, is in that place. And so I welcome you here with me in that space. It's a vulnerable thing for me to open up and let you guys enter that space with me. But back to wisdom, yes. So I was told I can get wisdom, and as it's given to me, I give it to you. Oh yes, and repent, to turn away from from the sins, hamartia. Repent is the word metanoia, just a metamorphosis, coming to a new understanding. Your nous is like your soul's mind or your heart's soul. I don't know, but your nous, you can look it up, Nous, and study that for days. You could study it for months. But meta is metamorphosis, so a change of your understanding. You come to a new realization. When I know better, I do better. I just came to a realization this morning, and it broke my heart. My heart was already broken again. I let it be broken again. Sometimes when you love, you get your heart broken. Sometimes when you don't love, you get your heart broken. When you don't act in courage. Sometimes I think I'm loving and I'm letting someone that's not worthy have access to my heart. Not that anyone's not worthy, we're all worthy of love, but someone by their actions who've not shown themselves to, it's like, I'm not going to go buy a Ferrari and give my keys to my 11-year-old, hey, go take this, even though he's a sweet kid, he doesn't know how to drive a car, let alone my Ferrari, you know what I mean? And you, my friend, I don't like pointing, you are worth far more than a Ferrari. You're far more than $1 billion, far more than so much. You're, what's the word? Like unpriceable, a work of art that's unpriceable. And none of us are going to be perfect, so we're not going to find perfect other people. But it's not about the other person. It's about when you learn how to treat yourself with dignity and respect, more than the dignity and respect you learned as a child. See, we learn habitual patterns. So we learn that our worth is this much or this much or this much. And really our worth is like as tall as, taller than this tree. And so when you learn, so I got a realization that broke my heart today, because I was like looking at, other people in my life and like, coward. It's like, as soon as you find yourself judging, look, one finger is good. There's say, I just said I didn't like winning. One finger is going out, 3 are pointed back at you, and your thumb pretty much. So it's like, this is all pointed at you. This is where you have the power to change, is look at how have I been a coward in my life, because that's how my life is going to change. Who cares? Other people, they can pay for their own therapy. I had to pay for my own and do my own. Oh, there's a squirrel over there. It's so frolicsome. I don't know if you can see it. They just seem so joyous, I'm more aware of joy lately. I want to be in more joy. I don't want to make this long though, but all the stuff I'm saying is important. So let it sink in. So I realized, how am I not being courageous? And courageous is this, what this is saying. Praxis is not to try out and then retreat. It's to enter the battle, duel, defeat and be defeated. When I read that part of be defeated, That's why I was like, okay, good, I'm doing it okay, because I felt so ashamed for a moment and embarrassed that I tried to go to battle, you know, that I tried to fight, and I didn't win in one area. I humiliated myself in a way, but not because this is what we're called to do, to be courageous and to go in and win and lose, fall and rise, crush the gates everywhere. I'm like, yes, let's crush these gates, and to expect struggles and fights until one's last breath. And so that's what I was going to say first, though, about when you have an open hand with generosity, whatever wisdom comes to me, I want to give to you. When I'm with God, if I go in humility, I'm like, these are all the ways that I have missed the mark of perfect love. That's missed the mark. That's the word hamartia, which is the word for sin. In Greek, it's hamartia. So I missed the mark of perfect love. I don't have to stay in shame about that. I just say, divine love, if I didn't have your grace and your wisdom, how would I know this? If we are like the Native Americans said, Mitakuashin, we are in the mind womb of God. We're in his dream right now. And so I was taught by this Native American Christian shaman, Red Elk. He's like, work the dream. This is what he was taught. Live in the dream. A healer. He's a healer. He passed away. But he's so funny. He's funny. Live. This is your life. You know, I've said that a lot of times, but I'm not going to keep waiting and be passive. There are times for me to wait and be receptive and not take action, for sure. There's the feminine aspect and the masculine aspect, but the masculine aspect of me, and the feminine, in a way, it's understanding. This is part of learning this art. I'm just learning it. As I learn it, I'm teaching to you guys this art of life, of sometimes it's important to take action and know that if I don't make choices, I wouldn't have got in the house that I got in. I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have got my life out of stagnation. I could have just stayed in old patterns because they're familiar. Familiar is family. It's the family I grew up in. I just stay with the familiar, and everyone stays with the familiar. If we do that, we're going to stay in a pile of crap. You know what I mean? Not a pile of beautiful pine cones. And, you know, if I wouldn't have made the choice with my friend, we were just like, are we going to go for it? I'm like, yes, let's exert the energy to go here. Like, there's a place for us to stay. And even, you guys know me, like, even if there wasn't a place for me to stay. And then the monastery was like, oh yeah, you stay here. I'm like, well, how much is it? They're like, well, it's free. And I'm like, what? You know? And, but you participate in their stuff. But I wanted to immerse myself in the Greek Orthodox because that's what kept coming to me. And so I got up and prayed with them from 1:30 till 5 in the morning, standing up, you know, sitting down a little bit. And this morning I did yoga on the floor in my room that I'm in, and I took a really cold shower, so cold, because I keep hearing, it just keeps coming to my intuition. Like, sometimes I'll listen to one of Aaron Doughty's, I think that's his name, one of his videos, and he goes to these Tony Robbins, is that his name? Speeches or classes, right? So it's like he's influenced, the top 5 people that influence him are influencing his life. And so, you know, for me, he's a pretty good influence as a male most of the time. I mean, I'm not saying anyone's perfect, but so anyway, he was talking about how Tony Robbins every morning jumps in the river or whatever, whether he feels like it or not. And he says, there was never a day that he felt like jumping in the cold river, or I don't know if he jumps in a river or cold shower, whatever. But I know that I was reading, not Daskalos, but White Eagle once, and I think it was saying that as well. Oh, I hope this isn't a tick. Yeah, I think it's a tick. Let me put it over here. So because your body wants stuff, you know, your body will be like, oh, I want to go over there, I want to eat, I want to sleep, I want this, I want that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with your bodily desires, but you get to determine your life and what to feed. And so when I took a cold shower, oh, that plane's close. When I took a cold shower, it's like telling my body, no, my wanting to run away from pain or uncomfortableness does not get to dictate my life. If I took a cold shower, you know, 3 times a week or every morning or whatever, a cold bath, I tried that the other day. It's like jumping in the river. But if I tried that, you're teaching your body that your body is not the highest. Like my whole video, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. It's the egotism and your bodily passions say, oh, I want to go drink. Oh, I want more drink. I want more drugs, or whatever it is, you know. It's just, there's this Bob Marley quote. I wish I knew it exactly, but he said, nothing outside you can corrupt you unless you're already corrupt inside. And so that helps me so much, is like, oh, I'm scared of that. I'm scared of that. I don't want to be scared of stuff. I just want to have everything in moderation. And I am directing my life, and not this other thing that says, oh, I want this. I want to go, you know, it would be easy for me to jump in a relationship right now with just someone I meet, or when I had those 400 likes or whatever, I'm not bragging, on that dating app. You know what I mean? I could have just gone off with anyone, but I don't want to do that. Like, part of me wants to, of course. Yeah, that would feel validating in the moment, but it's just like, the grace has been given to me enough in my life so that's not appealing to me, because I want something more organic. Or I was shut off in a certain way. That's what my heart was breaking about this morning, because I saw how still I was given the message as a child that you're allowed to have a spiritual connection, but you know, by my parents' actions, they didn't show how to be connected in the physical world. They didn't show how to be emotionally connected to me. Emotionally, physically, affectionately, you know, it just wasn't there. And so somehow when it's not there, you develop these rules inside your head where it's like, I must not be allowed, I must not be worth that. I must not be allowed to have that in my life. And so if people are showing up where, you know, like if I just kept getting an email from someone or something, you know, and I was like, oh, that's all I'm worth is emails, or, you know, oh, I won't go into, I just remembered something. I was getting direct messages by someone, and I won't go into that because they might be watching. But it was strange, because I was like, what? Okay. Like, and I allow things to unfold, you know, and flow to happen. And so I don't want to judge, but if there's a part of me that's energetically blocked off, I'm not going to explain all of energy right now, but as a psychologist, I see people, their lives flow, ebb and flow, and we can have all these dams along the way. Ooh, it's glowing. That's weird. The sun is, or maybe that was my hair. Yeah. We can have dams along the road from traumas in childhood or other hang-ups and stuff like that. And we want the water to flow, and you want to act from a deep, powerful place inside your inner being, where that stillness is that I was talking about, that I was singing about earlier. I was thinking, I don't want to turn this into like a musical where I just burst out into song, but when I need to, I will, you know, whatever. And so if I just get emails from someone, and I'm used to someone, like I'm used to deep books. Like I had the physical book of C.S. Lewis's, all the Narnia books fed me as a child. Like, I don't know if I would have been alive if it weren't for those. I don't think I would be. Because in some of my darkest moments, I heard Aslan's voice saying, courage, dear heart, courage, dear heart. I was at a store the other day, and they had it written, they had it on a ring. I almost got the ring. But I was like, I don't need a ring. It's in my heart, you know? Courage, always ask for courage, ask for whatever, ask if you don't know how to release. These are all the ways I'm seeing that I've missed the mark of perfect love. This is humility, to go, take these from me. I repent. Metanoia. Help me come to a higher understanding. I don't want these lesser things. I want the highest love, and I want to be loved with the highest love, and I want to be present with the deepest presence, and I want the best. I always want the best. It's like, if you knew how to I was looking at vineyards along the drive here. There are vineyards in Paso Robles. I don't know if I passed through there, but there were other vineyards. I don't think I did. And I was looking, and I was like, wow, it takes so much for the sunlight to go on the grapes, to grow them, for them to harvest them, for all those trees to be in a row, for them to, the water goes into it, the earth, the sun, all the elements, the air, the wind, you know? And then they pick it all, and then they squish the grapes, and then they make it into wine. And I'm just like, wow. if I knew how to detect really fine wines, this is be wine. This is my life. This is what my life is and my job is. They're the same, because my job is to let the divine love create good wine out of me. When Christ turned the water into wine. I talk about this in the Maurice Nicole videos, but those are like, there's a lot of talk in between that talk. Not me talking, just in the book. Anyway, you're letting yourself be transformed into something higher, but you have to go along with that. You have to make choices. And so this book is describing right now, just today's page, is describing you can be given a grace. So you might have just been given a grace through me with the singing, the bringing you back into presence. And in that singing, in that grace, now you're about to face a battle. And you don't have to look for battles and look for struggles. It's just understanding. It says, don't be overconfident, but know that. So what happens is we get a trial, and a temptation will come around and go, oh, well, do you want this gold flake paint, this glittery stuff, or do you want the true thing? And both are in front of you, and you're like, oh, look, my intuition led me to this great glittery gold. Like, I will take that, oh, that's a lottery ticket or whatever. And it's like, wait a second, that could be your test of character. Am I going to choose this, or am I going to choose the higher thing? What is the higher thing? And people will laugh at you, and people will say, that's stupid, You choose. I'm not making any choice for anyone. You choose what's stupid for you. And is it stupid? And I think Christ was saying, it's the foolish. It's like he said you must become like a little child. And a child has a feeling for who's good and what's good. And it naturally opens up to that, until we're crushed. Sorry, I don't want to bring that in. But then that can be healed so that you don't. So it's like going back to your childlike nature and trusting that as you develop your higher self, and just ask. If you're humble and you ask sincerely, then the divine love will reveal to you what is the good choice on this path. And so it says, but I would even say that the descent can occur at any moment. So one should not be surprised at changes. Know that grace always precedes temptations as a warning to prepare. As soon as you see grace, tighten your belt and say, the declaration of war has come. This is a spiritual battle. It's like your life can be playful and fun and joyous, but it's also a battle, because we have different aspects of ourselves, and they war to be on top. And if you let your egotism part of you direct your life, you're acting from something that's like meant to be like 10 or 8% you, and the other 92% is meant to be acted from this deep soul place. I don't know what the percentage is, but okay. So he says, the declaration of war has come. Watch out, you man of clay, because we are made out of the earth. If you understand, even if you follow science, it's just, anyway, science, it all interweave, and it's interwoven when you see it from the highest perspective, but you don't have to trust me on that. Many times, okay, watch out, you man of clay, where the malicious one will wage the battle. And the malicious one can be the accuser in yourself as well, this devil on one shoulder and angel on the other type of thing. I'm not saying what it is, so you guys can find that out yourself. Many times it comes quickly, other times after 2 or 3 days, but it shall definitely come. So your fortifications ought to be solid. Haha. I could ask my kids about this, because they play like Minecraft and Rush, I think it's called. I was playing with my kid the other day, and you have to like fortify your base, And so if they know how to do it in a video game, if a 6-year-old knows how to do this in Minecraft, we ought to know how to do this for our spiritual life. But it shall definitely come. So your fortifications ought to be solid. Confession every evening, like clear your heart. Okay, I gotta wrap up. Obedience to the elder, humility and love towards all. In this way you alleviate this affliction. It's not going to be so hard. Now, if grace comes before your purification, I ask you to be careful and keep a clear mind. Grace is divided in 3 stages: purifying, illuminating, and perfecting. Hi. There's a little child and daddy, I think. I'm making a video for YouTube. Isn't it beautiful?
She's a YouTuber.
I'm a YouTuber. Hi. Good. Just do it, man.
You gotta give him a phone.
You got to do it by doing it. You know. That's what I hear. I'm not saying I'm doing it well yet. Yes, it's a process. Every day a little bit. Okay. Aw, see, people come by for a reason. A little kid. I'll show you the back of him. Like, I don't know. He wants to be a YouTuber, he said, you know? And here I am, YouTubing. I just went where my soul called me to sit this morning, to find this forest again, because it's not by where my friend's house is. I drove to this. It's beautiful. Who crosses your path and when? Grace is divided into 3 stages: purifying, illuminating, and perfecting. Life is also divided into 3 stages according to your nature. This is what I was talking about. I'll end here. Your nature, above nature, and contrary to nature. Man ascends and descends within these 3 stages. There are also 3 great charismata, like that's the charisma, that's the oil of Christ, the Christos, the oil that a priest gets and a king and a queen gets. It's like the Holy Spirit oil that will illuminate these things in your heart and your mind. It says, and also 3 great charismata. They've researched this for forever. This is why they're talking about it. They know from experience, not research in your head knowledge, that one receives theoria, that's the illuminated understanding of God. Love, this is a grace. And dispassion. Dispassion is like when I take a cold shower and I don't let my passion for, like, I want a hot bath, a hot bubble bath. Yes, it's important to have those sometimes, but I am detached from, oh yeah, I want to go date, some, like a bunch of those guys that liked my page when I was on a dating app, but I can be dispassionate about it and go, what do I want more? Do I really want to spend my time that way? Or do I want to be present and trust that people will come into my life that resonate with how I'm resonating, and trust that if it's not that, a different way will be shown me, just like it was shown me at that time that the dating app wasn't right for me. It might be right for other people, so anyway, that's a lot. I pretty much put everything that I've ever taught on all my videos in this one video. So I wish you much love. Be at peace, be in love. Don't stay in shame. Ask for forgiveness. You get the grace. And we don't have room to judge other people because honestly, if we're looking at them as if they received this grace, it's like I don't, okay, but if I had, whatever. Okay, if I had $2 million in my bank account right now, then, and I judge someone like, why are they doing that? Why are they doing this, X, Y, and Z? It's like, I don't have room to judge them. They don't have $2 million in their bank account. So I'm judging them as if they had it. This is how grace works. You have been giving grace in your life. Like I have been given gifts from my parents and from my DNA and from the spirit world, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how it all gets to you. And so you can't judge someone else based on their decisions. You can choose how to protect your own heart and how to treat yourself with respect and dignity. But they are acting within the grace that's been given them. And if they act in their highest selves, then more grace will be given to them and they can make higher choices. But just allow yourself to be where you are now and let yourself be forgiven and ask for wisdom if you want. I wish you so much love. Thank you so much for being here. I'm happy for you.